Mesdames et messieurs, garçons et filles, je vous présente comme il vous plaira, or as you like it, as my creator, the Right Honorable William Shakespeare, called his French farce. Now, I have one name with many pronunciations. Jaques, Joques, Jacks, Jakes. You can see why I choose to live in the forest of Arden. Yeah. Oh, but you don't know about that yet. Well, you'll soon find out. But first, there's some things that you should know. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their entrances and their exits, and in his time one man plays many parts, by which I mean we'll be making use of a little technique known as doubling. Oh, now, this is Rosalind. Later in the story, she'll appear to turn into a boy while pretending to be a girl, while pretending to a boy. Now, this is not an example of doubling, but the strange things we do for love. She is the daughter of Duke Senior. Now, in a violent coup that we can only assume has been fueled by years of sibling rivalry, Duke Senior was banished an unspecified number of years to the Forest of Arden. This banishing was done by Duke Senior's brother, Duke Frederick, which on the other hand is a perfect example of doubling, who also has a daughter, Celia. Now, since her father was banished, Rosalind has lived in the court with Duke Frederick and Celia. Now, you might think this might cause a little tension, but let's just say Celia is an unusual girl.
I pray thee, Rosalind, sweet my cousin be married.
Dear Celia, I show more mirth than I am mistress of, and would you yet I were merrier? Unless you could teach me to forget a banished father, you must not learn me to remember any extraordinary pleasure.
Oh, you know my father hath no child but I, nor none is like to have. And truly, when he dies, thou shalt be his heir. And when I break that oath, let me turn monster. Therefore, my sweet Rose, my dear Rose, be merry.
From henceforth I will, cousin, devise sports. Let me see. What think you of falling in love?
Clearly someone has love on the brain, which works out well for Orlando. Now, Orlando lives with his oldest brother, Oliver, in the house of their deceased father, Sir Roland de Boys. Well, actually, Oliver lives in the house. Orlando lives in the stable, and he's not happy about it. Well, who would be?
The spirit of my father, which I think is within me, begins to mutiny against this servitude. I will no longer endure it. But yet, I know no wise remedy how to avoid it.
The obvious answer, of course, is to enter into a wrestling match with the Duke's wrestler, Charles. Unfortunately, Oliver has some jealousy issues and isn't exactly what you would call scrupulous. Boy, those Du Bois boys.
I'll tell thee, Charles, it is the stubbornest young fellow of France, a secret and villainous contriver against me, his natural brother. Therefore, use thy discretion. I had it sleep thou didst break his neck as his finger.
I am heartily glad I came hither to you. If he come today, I'll give him his payment. If ever he go alone again, I'll never wrestle for prize more.
Then, French fate being what it is, who should meet on the day of the contest but Rosalind and Orlando?
Young man, your spirits are too bold for your years. We pray you, for your own sake, to embrace your own safety and give over this attempt.
I beseech you, punish me not with your hard thoughts, but let your fair eyes and gentle wishes go with me to my trial, wherein if I be foiled, there is but one shamed that was never gracious, if killed, but one dead that is willing to be so. I shall do my friends no wrong, for I have none to lament me. Only in the world I fill up a place, which may be better supplied when I have made it empty.
Wear this for me. One out of suits with fortune, that would give more, but that my hand lacks means. The little strength I have, I would it were with you.
Oh. Break it up! Break it up! We're gonna have a nice clean match here, right now. On my count, we're gonna have best 3 out of 5.
Now Hercules, be thy speed, young man!
Ready? On my count, and go!
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot! Rock, paper, scissors, shoot!
Oh, another point.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot!
Oh, draw, no point.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot!
Another draw.
I had a thunderbolt in my eye. I can tell who should now.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot!
Oh, coming back.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot!
Oh, another point. No. Sunday.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot!
And we have our champion. Oh, me, oh my. Nevertheless, to say, Oliver is less than pleased by Orlando's victory. And Orlando is faced with the decision to escape to the Forest of Arden or be burned in his bed, stall, whatever. Meanwhile, in another part of the kingdom, Duke Frederick is busy banishing his niece.
Within these 10 days that thou beest found so near our public court as 20 miles, thou diest for it.
Dear sovereign, hear me speak.
Thou art a fool. She robs thee of thy name. Firm and irrevocable is my doom which I have passed upon her. She is banished.
Pronounce that sentence then on me, my liege. I cannot live out of her company. Say what thou canst, I'll go along with thee.
Why, whither shall we go?
To seek thy father in the Forest of Arden.
Alas, what danger will it be to us maids as we are to travel forth so far? Beauty provoketh thieves more than gold.
I'll put myself in foreign attire, the like do you. So we shall pass along and never stir a sail.
Were it not better, because that I am more than common tall, that I did suit me all points like a man?
What shall I call thee when thou art a man?
I'll have no worse a name than Jove's own page, and therefore, what you call me? Ganymede. And what will you be called?
Something that hath a reference to my state. No longer Julia, but Aliena.
Ganymede and Aliena. Nay, I care not for their names. You know you've been at court too long when you think putting on a manly front means calling yourself Ganymede and slapping on a fake mustache.
But cousin, what if we essayed to steal the clownish fool out of your father's court? Touch her! Touch her! Touch her! Come on, touch her! Come on, touch her!
Here, touch them!
Oh, touch it! Oh my God! Oh my God! It's massive!
Now go we in content, and not to banishment.
Now, the only problem with bringing a fool into the forest is that... Well, the only problem with bringing a fool into the woods is that... Well, there are other problems with bringing a fool into the woods.
Well, this is the Forest of Arden.
Oh, worthy fool, motley's the only wear.
Now am I in Arden, the more fool I. When I was at home, I was in a better place. Oh, but travelers must be content.
Oh, sweet Phoebe, do not scorn me. Phoebe, do not say that you love me, not, but say not so in bitterness.
Freeze! Okay, Sylvius and Phoebe. He lives in Arden, she lives in Arden. He's a shepherd, she's a shepherdess. He's passionate, she's passionate. Theoretically, they are perfect for each other. But Sylvius is passionately in love with Phoebe, and Phoebe passionately loved Sylvius to leave her the hell alone. Meanwhile, in another part of the kingdom, Orlando is busy cozying up to Duke Frederick. And Duke Frederick is under the mistaken impression that Orlando and Rosalind have run away together.
Not seen them since. Sail, that cannot be. But were I not the better part made mercy, I would not seek an absent argument of my revenge thou present. But look to it. Find out thy brother wheresoe'er he is. Seek him this candle, bring him dead or living within this 12 months, or turn out no more to seek a living in our territory.
Oh, that
that your highness knew my heart in this. I never loved my brother in my life.
See, this is what happens when people start getting all emotional. There's death threats made, a bunch of mistaken identity, and hormonal teenagers are left running around without a curfew in the woods.
I would not be thy executioner, I body, for I would not injure thee.
Like I said, it's a thing. So is this.
Hang there my verse, in witness of my love. From the east to western end, no jewel is like Rosalind, her worth being mounted on the wind. Through all the world, there's Rosalind.
Ouch. I'll rhyme you so 8 years together. If a heart do lack a hind, let him seek out Rosaline. If a cat will after kind, so be sure will Rosaline. Winter garments must be lined, so be sure will Rosaline. He that sweetest rose will find, must find love's prick and Rosaline. That is a very false gallop of verses. Why do you infect yourself with them?
Peace, you dull fool. I found them on your tree.
Oh, truly the tree yields bad fruit.
Forest. I'm actually a forest.
Why should this desert, for it is unpeopled? No. Tongues I'll hang on every tree that shall civil saying show. Thus Rosaline, of many parts, by heavenly synods was devised, of many faces, eyes, and hearts, to have the touch's dearest prize. Heaven would that she these gifts should have, and I to live and die her slave. Didst thou hear these verses? Trow you who had done this?
Is it a man?
And a chain that you once wore about his neck. Change you color.
I prithee who?
Oh, wonderful, wonderful, and most wonderful, wonderful.
If ever, as that ever may be near you meet, in some fresh cheek the power of fancy, then you shall know the wounds invisible that love's keen arrows make.
But till that time, come not thou near me. And why, I pray you? Who might your mother be, that you insult, exalt, and dodge once o'er the wretched? What, though you have no beauty, must you be proud and pitiless? For, I must tell you friendly in your ear, sell when you can, you are not for all markets.
Sweet youth, I pray you chide a hear together. I'd rather hear you chide than this man woo.
Oh, why look you so on me?
For no ill will I bear you.
She's fallen in love with your foulness, and shall on all of my anger, therefore take her to these shepherds. Fare you well! Now, I prithee, with most petitionary vehemence, tell me who it is.
And yet again wonderful, and after that, out of all wisdom.
I prithee, take the cork out of thy mouth, that I may drink thy tidings.
So you may put a man in your belly.
Orlando?
You bring me out. Soft comes he not here.
Oh, I pray you, mar no more trees by writing love songs on their barks.
I pray you, mar no more my verses with reading them ill-favoredly.
Rosalind is your love's name?
Yes, just.
Nay, I care not for her name.
There was no thought of pleasing you when she was christened.
Oh, you have a nimble wit. But the worst fault you have is to be in love.
'Tis a fault I will not change for your best virtue. I am weary of you.
Oh, sweet baby,
Farewell, good Signor Love. Farewell. And then lover, sighing like furnace, made with woeful ballad to his mistress' eyebrow.
Adieu, good Monsieur Melancholy.
I will speak to him like a saucy lackey, and thereby play the knave with him. Do you hear, Forester?
Very well. What would you?
There is a man haunts the forest that abuses our young plants with carving Rosalind in their bark. If I should meet that fancy monger, I would give him some good counsel, for he seems to have the quotidian of love upon him.
I am he that is so love-shaped. I pray, tell me your remedy.
Love is merely a madness, and deserves as well a dark house and a whip as madmen do. Yet, I do profess curing it by counsel.
Did you ever cure any so?
Yes! One. And in this manner, he was to imagine me his love, and I set him every day to woo me.
Sweet youth, I would not be cured.
I would cure you, if you would but call me Rosalind and come every day to woo me.
Then By the faith of my love, I will fare you.
Nay, you must call me Rosalind.
Pardon me, dear Rosalind.
Come, woo me, woo me. For now I'm in a holiday humor and like enough to consent. And what would you say to me now and I were your very, very Rosalind?
I would kiss before I spoke.
Nay! You were better speak first, and when you were gobbled for lack of matter, you might take occasion to kiss.
How if the kiss be denied?
Then she puts you to entreaty, and there begins a new matter. Am I not your Rosalind?
I take some joy to say you are, because then I would be speaking of her.
Well, in her person, I say I will not have you.
Then, in mine own person, I die.
No, Faith, die by attorney. The poor world is almost 6,000 years old, and men have died from time to time, and worms have eaten them, but not for love. But come, now I will be your Rosalind in a more coming-on disposition, and ask what you will, I will grant it.
Then love me, Rosalind.
Yes, Faith, will I. Fridays and Saturdays and all.
Oh, baby! Baby!
It's not my fault.
Now, just when you thought doings in the Forest of Arden could not get any more complicated, Oliver arrives.
Touchdown, boy. Here, boy. Here, boy. Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
Never much of a Boy Scout, Oliver gets lost and falls asleep under a tree. Now, unfortunately, the part of Arden he finds himself in has a minor lion infestation. Fortunately, and rather coincidentally, Orlando is out for a long walk, mulling over his life in the Forest of Arden, the attractive young man he just met, and his heretofore heteronormative lifestyle choices. He sees the impending lion attack and is able to save Oliver's life. Oliver, realizing what an ass he's been, repents, and the Du Bois boys are reunited in filial amity. But, as usually happens when you decide to fight a lion barehanded, Orlando is wounded and sends Oliver to find his Rosalind and tell her he's going to be a little late. But the first meeting between Oliver, Rosalind, and Celia has some unintended consequences. On the heels of her other recklessly impulsive lifestyle choices, Celia falls in love with Oliver.
I am so lost.
Dumb as a post, this one. Sylvius is in love with Phoebe. Phoebe is in love with Rosalind. Oliver and Celia are in love with each other. Thank God for small favors. Rosalind is on a little bit of a power trip, and Orlando is depressed, wounded, and sexually frustrated. All caught up.
Have humans ever considered asexual reproduction?
Oh, truly, I would the gods had made thee poetical.
I know not what this poetical means.
Aye, a man may, if he were of a fearful heart, stagger in this attempt. Have patience, Arden. We will find a time, gentle Arden. I will marry thee.
Well, the gods give us joy. Will you be married under a bush like a beggar?
He's a forest.
You will prove a shrunk panel and like green timber, warp.
Oh, my dear Orlando, how it grieves me to see thee wear thy heart in a scarf.
It is my arm.
Did your brother tell you how I counterfeited to swoon when he showed me your handkerchief?
I, and greater wonders than that.
Oh, I know where you are. There was never anything so sudden. For your brother and my sister no sooner met, but they looked. No sooner looked, but they loved.
They are to be married tomorrow. But oh, how bitter a thing it is to look into happiness through another man's eyes.
Why then, tomorrow I cannot serve your turn for Rosalind,
I can live no longer by thinking.
and I will weary you no longer with idle talking. Know of me this, that I can do strange things. Therefore, put you in your best array, bid your friends, for if you will be married tomorrow, you shall. And to Rosalind, if you will. Very well, I have left to command.
I'll not fail if I live.
Then, after a night of wallowing in anticipatory excitement, the day of Oliver and Celia's wedding arrives. And in what is perhaps the most egregious example of thunder stealing in the history of the world, Rosalind makes her big reveal.
You say, if I bring your Rosalind, you will bestow her on Orlando here.
Oh, that would I, had I kingdoms to give with her.
And you say you will have her when I bring her.
That would I were I of all kingdoms king.
You say you will marry me if I be willing. But if you do refuse to marry me, you will give yourself to this most faithful shepherd. So is the bargain. I will have no father if you be not he. I will have no husband if you be not he. Nor ne'er wed woman if you be not she.
Sight and shape be true. Why then my love adieu.
And now let me have audience for a word or two. Duke Frederick, hearing how that every day men of great worth resorted to this forest, addressed a mighty power which were on foot in his own conduct, purposely to bring his brother here and put him to the sword. And to the skirts of this wild wood he came, where, meeting with an old religious man, after some question with him, he was converted, both from his enterprise and the world, his crown bequeathing to his vanished brother, and all their land restored to them again that were with him exiled. This to be true, I do swear my life.
Wait. And who are you?
I am the second son of old Sir Roland.
Well, I did not see that coming. 'Tis better to be sad and stay silent.
Why then 'tis better to be a post.
I will make a post out of you if you keep derailing this production.
Touchstone, get him, boy!
Oh!
Proceed. We will begin these rites as we do trust they'll end in true delights.
And so ends our strange, eventful history.
Yeah, I'm still really bad at those. I love Hello! You're a vision of springtime loveliness. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit glad that